Hey everyone, Jim and Chris back with a pretty interesting update, and that is looking ahead to the future. Here we are in 2024, but I was just at an event with a number of real estate experts and economists that brought up what are we going to see happening in the years 2025 and 2026. And why is that important to you guys? Well, it's important to all of us as astute investors to know what's going to happen. Some interesting stats I need you to know. Right now, in the United States, 60% of all population growth is going to Florida and Texas. Now that is an astounding number, but not really a surprising one from all the growth patterns we've seen. And why I tell you that is overall, the U.S. is seeing about 600,000 new starts for construction projects. You know, that's for our housing, that's important, we're behind on inventory, and you would think over the next 2 years, if we're at that level, it's going to continue to grow to answer demand. It's actually supposed to shrink by almost 2/3. So think about that for a minute. We already have an inventory problem, especially in high growth areas. And now instead of our starts going up to answer the demand, they're going down. The reason they're going down is something that we had been seeing, one of the reasons why we took on new partners like Sumitomo, but it has a lot to do with not real estate, but financing. And maybe you want to talk a little bit about that.
Sure. We all saw what happened to interest rates, right? They went through the roof. That was particularly painful for the commercial projects, the multifamily operators. Those deals just began to no longer pencil.
Yes.
And they don't have all the same levers that we have to pull as a home builder that is selling 1 to 4 unit properties that can still get conventional residential mortgages. You know, these are now commercial mortgages, and those rates are just significantly higher than what we're able to supply to our clients today.
Yes.
And they don't really have any way around it.
Mm-mm.
So, you know, what we see is we start to see equity moving away from that space. Not only equity, but also debt. You know, so the debt said, hey, you know, we used to give you 80% or 75% loans on a construction project.
Yep.
You know, to build a new multifamily project. Now they said instead of that, instead of giving you 75% loan to cost, we're going to give you 50%. So now the equity is going,
change.
wait a second, so we got to put in 100% more money than we used to have to put in, and we're paying a lot more for the debt. So we're putting in more money and getting a lower return.
Yes.
And so, you know, the equity started pulling back as the debt already pulled back. And so what we see is much fewer apartment permits underway. So you see that market having really slowed down. Now you might see some of them finishing, and there are a lot of projects that finished in 2023, which is why we're probably going to see a flat 2024 from a rental growth standpoint.
Yep.
Because 2023, all the catch up from COVID happened. So any project that was delayed in 21 and 22 finalized in 23.
Yep.
And or early 24. So, you know, it put a lot of inventory in the market, which as many of you know, we were seeing 20, 25% rent growth. You know, we're now seeing 1%, 2%, as much as 4% on our newer construction. But our older construction is flat. You know, it's that 1 and 2% range. So, you know, we don't expect that we're going to see anywhere near that high growth rate in 2024. But what's going to happen is we have less permits being applied for, much less,
yes.
like substantially less permits being applied for from a multifamily perspective, that now there is going to be a lack of inventory coming on the market in 25, 26, and likely even in 27. Because, you know, right now, you know, this higher for longer interest rate mentality from the Fed, meaning that, you know, they say they're going to cut, but now they keep pushing back when they're going to cut. That just keeps pushing back when you're going to see these multifamily operators enter.
Yep.
And, you know, just when they enter, the process is very long. You have to find a piece of land. Then you have to entitle that piece of land. Then you have to develop that piece of land. So from the day that they find it till the day that they're able to place tenants in it is sometimes 2 to 3 years.
Not only that, though, I think this is a very important thing. Even talented builders out there, if they are working in cooperation with the banks, they have their hands tied to they can have a great balance sheet, a great track record, strong financials, And Chris and I were seeing it a year and a half ago. I mean, half of your time was sitting in the office doing new loan conditions for the 10th time on a building line. And that is going to slow a lot of builders down. When Chris and Carter put together this joint relationship and acquisition of part of our company to Sumitomo, we have no bank debt anymore. And that's something really important. A lot of people say, is my builder safe to work with? We have zero bank debt. The reason being is Sumitomo, being a 331-year-old company, is our partner. So we no longer have to go to banks. Our partner has said, we like build to rent, we love Florida and Texas, let's really make it happen. So where a lot of these other builders are literally saying, we're struggling, we need to figure out where we're going to find financing, not now, but over the next 2 to 3 years, we don't have to worry about that. What we have to worry about is the right areas and getting it built. And even though there's going to be more demand, there's going to be less people standing from what I'm seeing, which is a huge opportunity for all of us working together.
Well, to your point, Jim, we have another whole division that does fee builds.
True.
For institutional clients. And the capital markets have gotten so tight for some of our fee build clients that we've actually had to step in and finance some of their projects. So we financed the projects for them to get them to the finish line so that they could realize these projects. But if they don't have us as a builder and us as a partner, and us having Sumitomo as a partner, that capital is very tight. And that, and it goes back to you and I get excited about these interest rates, but the fact that we're able to buy these interest rates down to 4.25% right now is just out of control. I mean, it's just amazing.
Yes.
And to put that in perspective, if the Fed drops the interest rates 3 times the rest of this year that they say they're going to, these rates will still not get to 4.25%.
No.
So
we're still undercutting what expected cuts are supposed to be.
Exactly. So anyway, I mean, this is we're getting a little off topic on what we're talking about in 25 and 26, but the reality is we are going to see fewer multifamily projects come online, which, even though we're selling single-family homes and renting single-family homes and duplexes and quads, which are not, traditional multifamily properties, that is still a competitor to our tenant base, to us from our tenant base. So, we're actually anticipating that we're going to start to see rent growths, get significantly better in 25, 26, and 27, while these multifamily operators are trying to wind their machines back up.
Yeah. So watch for, in the next 24 to 36 months, the banks tightening up, a lot of great builders and commercial needs out there not being met because the money's just not available and they can't put in as much equity as Chris was saying. And the people that are self-financed are really going to be able to pick up a niche in the market. Working with us, we continue to say, how can we be ready to build more portfolios? And that's not only with building them for you and you buying at the very end with our financing, but also some of you might be holding your own land or needing a development built out. And as Chris said, stepping in with the fee building funding is going to be key for some of our bigger clients. So we are realizing where we're needed. And we know in the next 3 years where we're needed is to fill that inventory gap, but also to step in and make sure with whoever you're working with, find out how much exposure they have to bank financing, because that is going to be an important component to know, can they get the job done? Not that they're not great builders, but they can have their hands tied. We feel very lucky with the direction we're going. We know we're not going to be there, and we're going to be able to build at a great pace and a great speed at a good volume for all the people we're working with. So I'm looking forward to that. We're looking forward to see what happens with rents in 2025, 26. We just wanted to let you know what we're seeing, what we are getting word of out there so that you're aware, and we'll keep these updates coming. So we'll talk to you next time. Appreciate the time today.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care.